So the other thing is, I think I need to like put this thing like in my front pocket. So
let's put it here.
Yeah,
I can't tell if you've gotten a haircut or you just combed your hair today.
Oh no, I did something. I did something brand new this week.
You're doing something with mousse.
No. Usually when I go to the bathroom, I just use the toilet. But I found that there's this other device that's right next to it, and water comes out of the top of it. And I never really knew what it was used for.
Oh.
But I saw a movie and I saw somebody standing inside of it, and I thought, oh, maybe I should try that. It's crazier. Like I feel like there's less dirt on my body now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Did you try that bar of stuff that you rub and?
Huh?
All right.
What?
Well, there's a little thing that it's made of lye, and you put it on there, and you get a coat of something. But anyway, you did wash your hair. You wet it at least.
Oh, soap.
Soap.
Soap. No, it's called soap.
Soap.
You just what is that? What is that bit from the guy that died from cancer? The comedian.
Oh, Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman, yeah.
Or didn't die.
Yeah.
Depending on if that's an act.
Yeah, he criticizes the Southerners with the. This is called soap. So you lather it up, you'll smell so bad.
They're still learning about it, but in any event, you appeared to have used some. For
kind of a little bit.
Is it going to be a weekly thing from now on, or just a test?
Oh, I can use it more than once. I didn't know that.
No, I don't know. I don't know where you live. You have to put quarters in that thing, right?
No, actually, I think it's the exact opposite. About 2 hours ago, I did take a shower.
Yeah.
And I think I put conditioner in my hair, and then I got out of it before I washed it out. And so now it looks like I've got mousse in my hair.
Oh,
because I didn't wash
working.
out all
I
my
think it's working. It looks like it almost looks like you got a professional haircut,
wow.
which I know you is against everything you stand for.
Yes, indeed it is. I try to just find a knife fight and then put my head in occasional places where they
get that ceiling fan.
Just get those parts out of it.
Oh.
So you had a homework assignment last week.
Yes. Well, we both had it, unless you had done it before you suggested it.
No, I did it.
The Plague.
Yeah.
Albert Camus.
Have you read any of it?
I have read the first section, which was the assignment.
Because I was thinking that you wouldn't have. And I was thinking you'd have excuses. And I'll tell you what I did.
No.
Was I actually said, I bet you he won't have the book. So I printed out a copy.
No, I got
you don't need it.
You printed out the whole book? This is the first 50 pages.
No, it's about.
I got it online. I got the e-book.
You got the e-book. What within here, in case you want? In
case I want to review?
In case you want to sort of.
I would have to stand across the room in case I want to refer to a certain. Thank you, but I have read it, right. And I don't really have
Section 1, right?
Section 1. Yeah. It's about 50 pages. Mm-hmm. And I have I could go on and on about it, but because the first 50 pages kind of just sets up this. Did you read it too?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it just sets up the story. It takes it so casually. It's almost like if you haven't read it, and it was the homework assignment.
Not for them.
It's I thought they were supposed to read along. I thought this was Chris's book club.
No, just for us to talk.
Well, I'm not sure there's...
Start for content.
If you haven't read it, even if you have read it, it's not that interesting. But if you haven't read it, it's at least the first 50 pages that I've read now is a kind of journalistic version, a chronicle account of the beginnings of a plague in Algiers.
Right. And this is an interesting thing because, there was a terrible Algerian war where basically the Europeans fled out of it.
Yeah.
And this was before that happened, when it was like this enclave of really well-to-do Europeans.
1947.
Yeah. And so this was like a Tahiti or a Bahamas, a very sort of nice place.
But they don't, there's no point in the book where they play up how nice
they don't.
It is. It seems, which was weird because, first of all, it says in the first sentence it's 1940-something.
Right.
It doesn't even say what year
Exactly.
it is, but 1940-something. But I still had the feeling that it was going to be a plague, one of the plagues from the 1800s or the 1600s even.
Yeah.
But it's effectively, even though it's 70 years ago, it's effectively modern times.
Uh-huh.
And there's a doctor in it who's a real doctor who probably went to medical school.
Right.
And slowly rats are dying in this Algerian beautiful town, and everyone is taking couple of people start to get sick, and everyone's taking it very casually, and the government doesn't want to. It's very COVID Trump, where don't panic, let's keep it from people, don't say anything.
Right.
A couple of
it
dead
has
rats.
That same feeling, but I mean, part of it is that like I'm trying to really appreciate the timeline, because as you're reading it, you're like, these people are stupid. Why don't you see that? But at the same time, if we're talking about 4 days, that might not be fast enough, right?
Right, and there is no, again, even though it was 1947, which is effectively modern times, it's not like the 1500s where there might be dead rats all over the place. A couple of dead rats, and then a lot of dead rats. Mm-hmm. And the government has kind of made
in so much
a decision.
As, there were fewer dead rats at the end because they had all died off.
Yeah, and they were taking them out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
The government, even though they didn't want people to panic and aren't saying anything, they're carrying off these bloody dead rats. Uh-huh. And the first of, and I think by the 50th page, maybe 2 people had really gotten the plague at this point. And it's hard to say. The doctor's wife was already sick, so it's hard to say if we're going to find out that that's the plague or not. She's sick when the story opens.
So I had to look up, they use this very funny word like bobus or boobus. And it's these like terrible sort of like black rashes on the skin.
It's boils.
Boils. Yeah. But they were using an actual plague term. And I had to look that, and I was like, wow. Yeah. That's really extreme. Like, what, you just like sort of bandage that up and go about your day? Really?
And because it's told like from a narrator, because it's told as if it's narrated like it's an episode of 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
It's not told like a novel. Mm-hmm. Someone is chronicling this story, and because they're using plague terms and they're talking about all these dead rats and all this blood, it clearly is getting somewhere that the characters in the book are not aware of or won't acknowledge. Mm-hmm. And they're all taking everything very casually, and their lives seem very boring. People go to work and they get up and they do things, and on Saturdays they rest. But there really isn't much excitement going on in this town.
No,
it seems like the plague is going to be the most exciting thing that ever happened in Algiers.
Which is an interesting dynamic. All of these books, the nature of human allegory is inescapable.
Yeah.
And just because when you do things, you let the context of your previous experiences in life drip into it.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything within like a vacuum, right? It just has to be there because it's inescapable with how you form narrative structures. So you have to think about Camus, who had lived through World War I, World War II, the Spanish flu, like all these terrible things.
He actually
right?
died just a couple of years after he wrote this
exactly,
book. Very young,
right?
30-something, 37, yeah.
And no, I think it was like, but anyway.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that, like, is he talking about the, like he made an interesting statement about war in there. I don't know if you caught it. Well, continue talking. I'll go find it.
It's hard to see, particularly when it's. I've only read 50 pages, although 50 pages is about a fifth of the book. It's not like it's not like it's 1,000. It's 250 or something.
Yeah, it's 250.
And it's hard to tell if the story is about boring people, or I know it's Camus and it's classic, or it's hard to tell if the story is just boring. Because in an effort to say that people are just going about their lives, yes, it's not very exciting.
He's almost like, the kind of Jack Kerouac and Hannah Arendt.
But those are,
like
a little
the
more
Eichmann book. You know what I'm talking about?
Those are a little more stream of consciousness.
But what I mean by
this is removed from
that.
Yeah.
it's this kind of like, this is the flow of things. And you know, it's just like how boring and monotonous life can be. Particularly
in the first couple of pages, which was...
in a way that these terrible things can eventually happen. Right?
They're inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Is what is kind of the voice of the narrator, so to speak, of the book. It's as if this is the inevitable steps that are going to happen, but it's going to be the only exciting thing in their lives.
I mean, like, okay, so here was one of the things I thought was really crazy. Tranquility so casual and thoughtless seemed almost effortlessly to give the lie to those old pictures of the plague. Athens, a charnel house reeking to heaven and deserted even by the birds. Chinese towns cluttered up with victims, silent in their agony. The convicts at Marseille piling rotting corpses into pits. The building of the Great Wall in Providence to fend off the furious plague wind. You know, and it goes into things like this sort of terrible description of you know the toils of the old time plagues. And then he goes right back and says, oh, you know, and then somebody
walk to work.
Then they walk to work.
On
and
weekends they sleep together and
it's just this crazy contrast. And then beforehand, he talked about how, like, you know, it was something like war when people said this is too stupid to go on for much longer. He used that term, and it was like, it was a brilliant turn of a phrase, and I don't quite know what it is. And Camus does what I've heard. I should have put the little bookmarks in there, but he does something that some of these readers or some of these writers will do every now and then, when I will read something, and then outside of context, it's just a beautiful phrasing of how you state something. Actually, I posted a bit on that one, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. And some of it is questionable here, since it was initially written in French, right? And it was translated.
I think, I don't know if I got the same translation as you, but I don't think it matters, except possibly in that one sentence.
Yeah. Here's the other one. When one has served in a war, one hardly knows what a dead man is after a while. And since a dead man has no substance unless one has actually seen him dead, 100 million corpses broadcast through history are no more than a puff of smoke in the imagination. Right?
Okay, yeah.
And this idea of, like, when you hear about, like, 15 million Soviets died in World War II.
It's very, very abstract to
exactly.
us.
Because there's no way.
Yeah. And yet if you knew one person that died, it's a much bigger deal than 15 million people that you've heard about.
Mm-hmm. This is a truism I've heard described so many times before. But I think that he described it, or the translator, or whatever. I don't know who's to blame with it, or who's to sort of attribute that beautiful phrasing for. But I think that's really sort of this purely poetic sort of thing. I really appreciate that. And the reason I brought up before we started recording, I brought up the Battle of Algiers because it was meant to be a documentary style movie, but I forget whether it was or not. But it's known to be a very. I think that some of it is and some of it isn't, and they interplay it really well or something.
Yeah.
I know that, like, on these sort of, like, you know, these, like, very respected list of, like, you know, top 100 movies of all time, when, you know, they're actually, like, real scholars doing it and not just, like, you know, Time magazine.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it makes it. Well, I mean, I bet a lot of those things you wouldn't have seen. You know,
but I did go to film school, so
right. Yeah. But, like, it'd be like, you know, the man with a movie camera, the Russian movie from, like, 1927. I mean, have you seen that one?
I don't think so.
See?
Is that Eisenstein?
No. I don't think so. I mean, Eisenstein sounds like a great beer, but no, it's...
or a theoretical physicist.
No, it's just a beer. I don't know how you got that thing from it. No, it's The Man with the Movie Camera is a 1927 movie, 29, Soviet Ukrainian silent documentary film. Now, it's important for film school. Well, I don't know why you haven't seen it, because the cinematic techniques that he invented. So here's what he invented: multiple exposure in this one movie. Multiple exposure, fast motion, slow motion, freeze frames, match cuts, jump cuts, split screen, Dutch angles, extreme close-ups, tracking shots, reverse footage, stop motion, and then slow reflexive visuals. All in one damn movie.
And that was 1929, so it was already well into the technology.
It was well into the technology, but like you didn't actually see, the Dutch angles or this or
people
the split.
Didn't do slow motion before him. That's so wow. As split screen, maybe not. He may have done that. You'd be surprised who invented some of these things. Chaplin obviously invented, but he was really at the onset of the industry. Chaplin invented some things. Buster Keaton a lot for stunts, but also in more modern times, although it was the 60s, Jerry Lewis invented some stuff. That's why, for whatever else was going on.
Well, he never invented a joke.
Well, they love him in France. He never invented a joke.
They can't understand what
but
he's
he
saying.
did a lot of technical innovations, like Orson Welles did. Orson Welles was the first one to take to do interesting shots and not just technical innovations.
Yeah, that's the only one that people
Jerry
cite.
Jerry Lewis did, maybe not on the era of Orson Welles, but Jerry Lewis, in terrible, terrible, unwatchable movies, managed to do fascinating things with the camera.
I mean, the only thing that I know about Orson Welles is that there's a California one. That is
Have you seen the tape of him falling asleep?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course I have.
Orson.
Of course I have. And then it showed you there's a comedian who actually did it in his style.
Oh.
Right? And then he had some other
Well, not drinking wine before it's time.
So, let's see. So we have some other things. So,
do we? Is there more? Are we finished with Camus?
Well.
All right. No, I am.
So we can continue. So we will have 4 other parts, and we can compare the plague to how we handled the plague.
So if you're one of our 16 million, what did we have last week? 16 million viewers?
Yes, that's right.
Try to catch up. I know it's going to be tough to get the book because they're all going to try to get the book at once.
That's true.
But if you get the e-book version as I did.
Well, I was able to download it from the internet for free.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, did you? Is that what you got? I thought you photocopied. All right.
Oh, no.
Right.
That was in. I don't know. Like, I liked. He had another visual of like a rat doing like a pirouette before they were dying.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, he mentioned that, and it just sounded so cartoonish as it walked out there saying, "Oh, I'm about to die," and it's like going down the blood coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion of blood and barrels of blood going, of rats being taken out of town before anyone could see them. But not a lot but only one person that was bloody and dying.
Yeah, I expect this to be as violent as the Turner Diaries by about part 3. Just without the white supremacists.
It's much like a lot of HBO series where they go, "Don't worry, it gets good in part 3."
I don't know if it does. I mean, Albert Camus is the quiet desperation author that makes you.
Yeah, I don't want to be told. I won't watch a show if they go, "Oh, you got to watch till episode 6 before it gets good." Well, then I'm not
done.
doing it. Yeah, I'm not doing it at all. Yeah,
yeah.
If they can't be good in 1.
Exactly, unless it's like part or minute 6 or something.
Oh yeah, you got to hold on the full 30 until the first commercial. That's about it.
Yeah, that's all the patience I have.
So you have other things. You have in your magic bag. You have more props.
I do. So I went to Trader Joe's and I have 2 new foods.
Oh, 2 new things to test.
Yeah. So this one is a crunchy mushroom snack.
But this is in English. We don't eat stuff.
But they're
from this
also
country.
kind of strange.
Champignon mushroom.
Well, look, it's clearly
Let's
not
see
in
what
English.
it is. Are you saying it's in the French? Well, in honor of Camus?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, in honor of Camus, I'll get this into a
Monrovia,
car crash
California.
later.
Sealed tightly.
Well, yeah, it's all Monrovia is their distribution
Crispy, crunchy champignon mushroom snack. Trader Joe's.
So that's number 1, and then here's number 2. This is just onion chips, and it's actual onions.
Onion chips? Oh, so like you would get potato chips.
Yeah, sometimes you
The
see those.
process used to create these very crispy onion chips maintains all the flavor and provides an irresistible snack that makes you want to keep munching.
Okay, so we should actually try to test these claims. So do you think that this is going to truly be irresistible snack and you want to keep munching?
Well, I'd be impressed if it tasted like onions.
Okay, so this is from the mushroom capital of the world in Pennsylvania. It's exclamation point.
Are they after the
Comes
good
this
mushrooms?
earthy, irresistible snack. So wait a second, these are both irresistible snacks. Is this true?
Oh, so let's see which one.
So, yeah, they both claim to be irresistible snacks. Mushrooms are thick cut, then vacuum fried with sunflower oil. That's not what a mushroom is.
Vacuum fried.
Vacuum fried.
They've made up that word.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
I don't know. Are they fried in a vacuum?
With sunflower oil to create crispy, crunchy, bite-sized shrooms. And look, they capitalize crispy, crunchy. Is that the name? Oh, that is crispy, crunchy.
What's the other ingredients?
There's
Although Trader Joe's usually does a quality
They're
product.
super for snacking anytime. See, they use the same keywords every time.
Were these
You're
next to
craving
each other
something.
on the shelf?
Yes, they were.
Huh.
I don't
So
work hard for this.
They're companion
When
pieces.
you're craving something sultry, no, they're savory. My apologies. And untoward, subtly sweet and seriously delicious. So they're using some alliteration there.
All right.
So
Well,
yeah,
they're already started with crispy crunchy on the alliteration.
and I hope I can hallucinate when I eat them.
That's
It'll be
right.
fantastic.
They're
So-
magic.
It's champagne mushrooms, sunflower oil, sea salt, and corn maltodextrin.
Oh, so there is a chemical in there somewhere. Okay.
Well, they're all.
I just want to make sure.
Well, yeah, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
All right. This is really nothing like the mushrooms I had before
We
the
should
show.
smell it first.
Oh.
Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Because mushrooms can be... No, this actually smells okay.
Yeah.
It smells a little like French fried potatoes.
It kind of looks like them too. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. We're doing mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're doing mushrooms on here. You almost have a barbecue taste to it, you know?
They do have a mushroom taste.
They do.
It's like,
Oh,
you know
look,
what it doesn't taste
they
like?
are irresistible. I knew it.
You know, I wouldn't say it feels like it's vacuum fried, but if you've
Do
ever
you
had
even know what
anything
vacuum fried
air
means?
fried, I don't think it means anything.
Yeah.
They do taste like they're air fried.
Yeah.
They taste like, or maybe they were put in a popcorn machine.
Oh, yeah. I found one of those the other day.
A popcorn machine?
Yeah, I haven't even tried to plug it in yet, but I should.
You mean you just found one on the street and you're going to
Yeah.
cook popcorn in it?
No, I'm not going to cook popcorn. I'm going to roast coffee beans.
You're going to make mushrooms in it.
No, so they're good for roasting coffee beans, and if I fail with it, I would just I'll
Okay.
return it to where I found it.
A popcorn machine you roast coffee beans in?
Yes,
So you get fresh coffee beans and roast them yourself?
you can do that.
I know you can. I'm just surprising you do.
I have before,
Yeah.
yes. So let's see. Well, we'll have to try to see which one's more irresistible. Do you think that you
This isn't bad, but I think it's resistible.
I think it's resistible, exactly.
Yeah, well, but I have nothing. This isn't like that. Remember that Japanese thing that tasted like? Well, we've had some really awful stuff.
Do you think this is subtly sweet or seriously delicious?
Well, I don't think it's either one of those.
Yeah, I don't believe so either.
But I think it's okay. It's a snack. It's a little snack, a little salty snack.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
And it's a little unique because you think of potato chips or pretzels, or even those fake things like Cheetos, and this actually tastes like mushrooms.
It does.
So it's unique. Irresistible, I don't know, but unique.
Yeah, I would. Okay, that smells
Okay.
like onions.
Okay, but it smells like baked onions.
Still
No,
tasty
now it's not
once
smelling
open.
good. Now it's not smelling so good.
Oh, yeah.
Now
Well,
it's a little sour.
Well, let's see what's inside of it.
Onions.
So, onions, rice bran oil, and salt.
That's it?
That's it.
No, all right.
Let's go for it.
So if this doesn't taste like onions, something has gone terribly wrong. Doesn't look like onions.
That's successfully an onion.
That is an onion. That is an air-fried onion again.
Oh yeah, same thing.
This is the same as that in that whatever they use to
See,
cook
that's
those.
clearly more irresistible than this one is.
I like this better.
Yeah. I've only eaten one of each, by the way. I don't know if
whatever they cook that in, same thing.
Yeah, it's probably the same machine, I would assume.
I think this is okay. I like this one.
Well, this is a product of Thailand, and we know that,
Oh, well.
So yeah, that's
like
only from Pennsylvania. So.
Oh.
And we know that American manufacturers just can't do it anymore. So.
Do we grow onions in the United States anymore? Product of Chile?
Yeah, we probably don't. I mean, we probably don't do anything.
We probably don't. We sell onions.
And we just do that.
This is not bad.
Okay.
This is slightly better than that one. I like them both. Again, irresistible. I don't know, but it really tastes like onions, and it really tastes like mushrooms.
Yeah, I'll give that to you.
And I'm not sure potato chips really taste like potatoes. We're so used to what potato chips taste like. We have a sense of what a potato chip's supposed to taste like. Does it really taste like a potato? It tastes like salt.
Potatoes are pretty sort of pretty mild in taste.
But thick, like steak fries, taste like potatoes. Mm-hmm. And I guess a baked potato tastes like potatoes. But of course, people put sour cream on it and other things. But you can't eat a baked potato. But I think that normally when I see these snacks, they taste like salt. Mm-hmm. And these have the actual taste of the product they claim to be.
No, I think they're light.
So it's unique. Yeah, there's some salt in there, but it's not all salt.
Oh, did you check for the salt? Did you have to do that?
No, it's fine.
So
I'm all dosed up.
This entire pack is only 200 milligrams.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's not bad. And this one is 2,000. No, it's the same. So
that's not bad. Yeah, well, they don't taste particularly salty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like meat to be salty, and that's about it. So
salty broad.
So
So these are okay. They're not. I think I'd rather eat these, but it's more fun when you bring in the disgusting stuff. But still,
I didn't know.
Nevertheless,
although
it's Trader Joe's, so it's not.
Yeah, this is the most strange stuff I could find there. Yeah, I should probably go back to the weird stores.
Yeah, or not even the foreign stores. Just probably if you went to. I wonder if a Quickie Mart downtown. That's a gas station, and then inside they're probably selling some really weird stuff.
I wonder if that British store in Santa Monica is still open.
What was it called?
There was some British themed store, and we got like that thing that looked like the 18th century version of Fig Newtons. Remember that?
Oh, I don't. Because I wasn't with you when you bought it. So
no, but we had them here.
We ate them. Yeah,
we ate them.
I think we liked them though.
Yeah,
I think they tasted okay.
Amazing, yeah.
Maybe those are actual. Maybe those are crumpets. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think crumpets are English muffins. I think that's.
Isn't it funny how maybe the only exported food from the British are terrible, and they're just hoarding all the good ones.
Yeah. Well, you can get those candies, with those caramels, and everything else is blood pudding. Or
maybe that's why the British wanted to hold on to the India for so long, is that they were like, dude, their food is so much better than ours. We can't let it go. even though the Nazis are bombing London, we still have half of our troops over trying to hold on to our colonies. Just can't let that shit go. It was so funny how Britain was trying to maintain their global empire as they were getting bombed, as opposed to saying, let's send the ships back. We got something more important to do.
I believe that's how we ended up in Vietnam.
No, that's the French.
Because the British were going to help us on the French, and the United States went in, and then Russia, China, communist countries said, well, wait a second, Britain, you have countries all over the world. If you give up your colonies, we'll give up Vietnam. And Britain said, no, we're not doing that, and left. And then France, who had asked the United States to come in, really left us holding the back. Now that we've started a war that can't be gone, it's all yours. But I think it was originally Britain left because they didn't want to give up their own colonies. As part of the settlement.
I think that you've got a lot of bad stuff there.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's all right. No, it's crazy. I mean, could you imagine America getting involved in a quagmire war that it just can't find can't get yourself out.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, I can't imagine that ever happening again. You know,
we did it for even longer.
Where we declare the war is over like every few years, and then it turns out it isn't.
Mission accomplished.
And then we're like, oh yes, the war is over, except for all those troops that are still over there.
How many troops do we have in Afghanistan now?
Well, again,
12,000 or something.
It's like, what do you define troops as? Right?
What's a troop and what's advisors?
Right, and what's a contractor? And what's
a contractor?
It's nonsense. Right? Like, you know, if I have to go over there and be scared about like white people shooting at me, I think it's still a war. Now, like, I don't care what you call them, but yeah, like white people speaking English with guns, like shooting in the country.
It's everywhere.
That means war.
It's in this country. It's in the United States.
Oh, damn, that's right. But their English isn't that great.
That's right. Their English is not as good as it is as the Afghanis.
It's probably, exactly. Yeah, I mean, did you hear about the mosque that was shot up in Kabul? You know, seriously. I bet you that happens all the time.
Yeah, we won't know about it, though.
Exactly.
Well, they probably don't have guns. Also, they probably can't go into a store and slap down. Well, first of all, they don't have any money. But if they did, they probably can't go into a Walmart and just buy an assault weapon.
Really? Why not?
Moscow.
No, we're talking about Kabul, Afghanistan.
Oh, Kabul. Well, they probably do have a tough time getting guns because no one wants to.
I disagree. I think that they probably have a bunch of them.
No, they're supplied by the Soviet Union, but they
It's 2021. When you talk Soviet Union, what
Russia. Sorry, Russia. They used to be supplied by the Soviet Union. Now they're supplied by Russia. But you probably would have trouble buying one.
They come through Siam, and then they go through Hindustan.
That's right. And
along the Silk Road.
They come down the Ho Chi Minh Trail. They're supplied by Russia, but I think they don't have much of an economy where you can buy and sell.
No, that's not what would cause it.
Yeah, no, I know, but I thought you were talking about just terrorists.
No,
they're armed.
No. What I would think is that if you have 20 years of war in your country, then you have guns just lying around.
Oh, that okay. I thought you meant actual commerce.
Well, no, I'm saying that it's probably not hard to get, military-grade weapons in a place that's been at war for 20 years.
Yeah, they're probably just lying on the ground.
You could probably hit somebody up.
Kind of like Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh, so they are irresistible.
No, I was going to offer you some more.
Oh, I don't know. This is, maybe I've had enough onions.
My gig with Trader Joe's is paying, can you imagine if I got paid for this? It would be great.
There was a company, I think Stella Dora. Do you remember that, Stella Dora? They may still be in business. And they made cookies without any flavor at all. They made like these. They just fill you up.
Oh.
They were dietetic, supposedly. But they made...
The AIDS diet plan has helped me.
Imagine this if it wasn't made from an onion, if it was made from like styrofoam. But it was edible. That was their biggest seller.
And you'll probably pack with
because
this stuff.
you could
probably ship stuff with this.
Yeah. Let's give it a try. Let's ship some electronic equipment across the country and see how it does with air-fried onions.
All right. And they I'd get a message on eBay.
It's environmentally...
and they'd say, did you use snack food in order to ship this? I'm like, no. Why makes it? It's like I took it out and it felt greasy.
So I guess Stella Dora, that was during the, maybe the 70s, and it was big seller. They actually eventually did have some cookies with some almond flavor or something. But their first big seller was these kind of crackers. They were about this big, and it just was like styrofoam-ish. And I guess the idea was these women, it was directed totally towards women that were trying to lose weight, could fill themselves up with something that had absolutely no nutritional value, but also had no calories.
Yeah, and so
so they wouldn't be hungry anymore, I guess it wasn't getting them fat.
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
you put a little like cake icing on it, though. It used to taste good.
The
tuna.
It's like
peanut butter.
what are those rice cakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's actually some vitamins in the rice cake, but I think these Stella D'oro cookies had nothing.
Mm-hmm. The most famous one of that is AYDS, which was a terribly named.
AIDS, the AIDS diet.
Yeah.
That predated AIDS. It was a chocolate flavored.
Predated the disease of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was in like this triangle wrapped chocolate that was supposed to fill you up.
It's just candy.
Chocolate. It was candy, but there was supposedly something in it that would expand in your stomach and give you the feeling of being full.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
And they used to call it the AIDS diet.
Right.
And they heavily advertised on TV right up until AIDS, AIDS, was
and there's some commercials that just come across
losing weight. Yeah.
So offensive. And you're like,
yeah.
Why diet when you can enjoy AIDS?
And you can lose weight with the AIDS diet.
Yeah. And then you have this woman come out and says, on AIDS, I lost 50 pounds.
Yeah. That's right. And it actually overlapped for a while. People, but I think it was a scam anyway. I don't believe you could lose weight by eating chocolate candy.
You know what I say is that I think that we need to get together and actually do like a mock commercial, make it look like it's from 1985, and then just add to.
I think you could find the real one.
No, because now we can actually do it more funny. You're like, you can get AIDS over the counter from your pharmacist.
You can get AIDS from your pharmacist. You don't have to get AIDS from your pharmacist. You can get it anywhere.
Right.
You can get AIDS from mosquitoes.
And so you can say something like, I don't know. You can say maybe put a Haitian joke in there. so
that's right. I remember some horrible AIDS jokes in the beginning of the AIDS. What's the worst part about getting AIDS?
It's telling your parents you're Haitian.
That's right. Yeah. Trying to convince your parents you're Haitian, right?
Well, see, you'd have to be old to know that. Early on, there were like a few people that got AIDS. The first one were gay bashers because they were secretly gay.
Yeah.
The second
Patient
one,
zero.
Yeah, the second one. No, but seriously, like they're like Cohen, that terrible lawyer.
Right, Roy Cohen.
Roy Cohen, right?
He wasn't one of the. He might have been one of the early ones to get it, but he died from AIDS.
86.
Yeah, and so did Reagan's campaign manager.
Right.
What was his name? These very anti-gay, these horribly anti-gay people.
These people are bastards. Just completely.
Roy Cohen spent half his career
bastards.
trying to force gay people dishonorably discharged from the military.
I mean, they were clearly
to
criminals.
get gay people out of government. And then Reagan's campaign manager did the same thing. Get gay people out of government, gay people. And they both died of AIDS because they were gay. I don't remember what his campaign manager's name was.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
But you know what?
Haitians and drug users.
You know what's so funny about that, though, is that they actually proved the gay stereotype, which is that, the gay person is a scheming criminal.
That's
right, and that was the assumption from like the 60s and the 70s.
Right. If you watch those movies,
see, I told you.
Yeah, murderers.
Roy Cohen.
And then drug users got it because they transferred it in there by using the same works.
Well, the needles. Yeah, the
needles. They used to call them works.
So there's a. I remember talking to you about maybe 10, 15 years ago about this. Like really sort of crazy odds. It's that if you looked at the chances of transmitting HIV through different sexual acts, right?
Yeah.
Whatever those odds are, then you look at the efficacy of condoms. It's not 100%, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at how many people have a transmittable HIV, but they do not know it. Then you multiply those numbers together.
Yeah.
Then you come up with saying that if you were to take a fling with somebody, you used a condom, they said that they're HIV negative. What would be the chances of you contracting HIV?
Very slim, probably less than 1%.
Right.
Well.
But it's it was still at a point of saying like, I'm not comfortable. It was like 50,000,
like
or
the
something
people
like
that are worried right now about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because 8 people out of 10 million vaccinations may have
I understand
had side
that,
effects.
but what I'm saying is that okay, so the J&J vaccine. So that thing, there's like a very sort of real benefit to it, which is you don't die from this terrible disease, right? Whereas the other one, which is, you don't, have sexual intercourse with strangers. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but it didn't matter if they were a stranger or someone you knew. You could still get
I understand,
it. Yeah.
but what I'm saying is that is something that if I decided not to do it, there aren't dramatic consequences.
Right. Where
like
if you decide not to get the vaccine, you could die of COVID.
But you could transmit it to somebody.
Yeah.
You could do some awful, irresponsible stuff. And so what I'm saying is that, like, first of all, we're not talking like 1 in 10 million. We're talking more like 1 in 20 or 30,000.
Yeah, that's for AIDS. Yeah.
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 We're like, it's about the same with the people who don't know whether, regardless of their gender or sexual identity.
Yeah.
And so, no matter what your preference is, it's, no, I'm HIV negative, of course. Or, we're going to use a condom. Just, that's fine. And then, and then you do the sexual acts, and you come back like, how did I get HIV positive? Like, and there's, it's non-zero.
Yeah, it's not zero.
Like,
it's not zero.
And you're like, okay, all right, I will be a virgin. All right, this is fine, no problem.
And then I guess in that era also Haitians, but I think that there was just the first outbreak there, and it's possibly that's a result of a bunch of things, such as not having the same sanitary conditions in Haiti, and also this very religious community that...
No.
You don't think so?
It's not it. So, what it is it looks like that AIDS probably started, this is according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia.
The beginning of the 20th century.
Yeah.
1905 to 1920 or something like that.
Took a long time to...
That's when it took a bridge to humans.
Yeah.
Now, it was transmitting itself throughout the world, but it went undetected because if you lived in a slum in the Philippines,
you were expected to die of some disease
right,
anyway.
and you died of some terrible disease.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff just happened just because you didn't have. It's when it got to a place where it was white men with good health care.
Yeah.
That's when people started to identify it.
Which was when it came to New York.
To New York, exactly. Yeah. And at that point, there was also a lot of Haitians in New York.
Right. They had come there, and they were, as you said, expected to have disease, but they also were not getting the same medical care until they came to New York.
Right, and so this was a pandemic that went unidentified for 50 years because the wrong people had it.
Yeah, right. Well, right. They were not expected to be healthy.
Well, it's not. They were not expected to be.
No,
happy.
well, I mean,
it's
they were
that,
ignored.
If I was in Kinshasa, I wouldn't be going to like the NYU hospital.
Right.
And I wouldn't have my mother in Kanoki with $50 million.
And when they were in New York, they were properly diagnosed, and since it matched a disease that white men were starting to get, they were able to identify it.
And that's
why it was taken as something that had to do with Haiti, where it didn't really have anything to do with Haiti.
No, as it turns out,
But that's at the time in 1984.
Prior to 1980.
But in 1984, because there were a bunch of Haitians that finally having medical care were diagnosed, and they were diagnosed with something that white people were getting that had already been named, that it was said that was increased risk when it wasn't.
Well, here's another thing, is that when you look at the charts, it turns out that the most risky sexual behavior that you can think of, and then you look at the transmission rates, and I think it's still it's under 10%. It's like 4 or 5 or something. It's still pretty low.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the needle exchange,
Yeah.
it's like 90. It's way high.
Because it really is. You really are getting the...
Right, because you're just going from one to the other.
Yeah.
And so the needle exchange is the thing that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And maybe it was because there was an increase in needle-based drug usage at the time.
Or I guess all you needed was one guy to start sharing. And
well, right. But what I'm saying is that, like, you know, injection-based drugs, I guess, have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But, like, when did it become...
I think that was a 60s thing. Or is
Was
that
it?
still... yeah.
Well,
heroin,
what still happens...
injected heroin.
Well,
but
not only injected heroin, but injected meth. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can inject.
It was almost all heroin. You can inject a lot of things, but at the time it was almost all heroin.
That's a primary way of doing so.
And because it's blood to blood,
right.
it really was almost a certain infection.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was a primary way. Well, not only that, but you know, from contraction to death is like half a decade. It was
now.
Well, no, even in the 80s.
I don't think so. I think people were getting diagnosed, and in my memory, and a couple of months later, they were dead. It was a much quicker thing. Some people have now lived 30 years with it. But
what it is that the point of contraction doesn't lead to symptoms. Is that you contract it in like 1981.
Seroconvert. But I think people were literally contracting it and dying months later.
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I don't believe that's true.
Because of the age of some of these people. There were 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds that were dying. There were people that I knew that were my age that had died that had not been having sex at age 5.
I agree with you with that, but I mean, I've been researching this recently.
Well, but I just don't. The math doesn't play out. How could an 18-year-old have gotten it 10 years before, 5 years before, even? I mean, it's possible, but they didn't.
I understand that, but like even with the big so the big a person that died from AIDS was a guy on the Real World, right?
Yeah.
So the first
Pedro.
Ramirez or whatever.
Zamora.
First MTV had this thing called the Real World in the 90s.
It's back on now.
Basically, okay. So I don't know if you have the premise, but the first season there was this guy that was like 22 or 23 and died from AIDS.
Yeah.
And he died from AIDS like before like the last episode was shown.
Yeah.
But he contracted when he was like 15 or 14.
But that he might have. But there were plenty of. There are plenty even now. People are contracting it, but they're contracting it and they know right away.
Now it's different. But what I'm the whole point of what I was trying to say earlier on was that because you had a range of contagiousness on the order of years.
Yeah,
that's how it spread.
Right.
Because even though,
but people were getting it and dying a few months later. They were getting it, testing, having not had sex. They were having sex once, twice. They caught it. They were dead. And it was a death sentence and a pretty quick one.
I mean, but that's from my reading on it. That wasn't.
That's not what people were really getting it, and they would know when they seroconverted. They'd feel sick. They'd lose some hair sometimes. They get tested. They were now testing positive, and they'd be dead in a few months. It was a death sentence, and it was pretty quick. I think that there were probably some people that had had it for a while, or there had to be, especially if it started in 1905. But there were, by the 80s, people were getting it dead.
But that's just, I'm sorry to kill so much time here. But that is
not correct.
But you know, just because you have a couple sort of anecdotal narrative stories doesn't form a statistically significant epidemiological record for it.
But it's not correct. You couldn't have died at that age if you needed years to kill you.
Okay, then you go and you correct Wikipedia.
All right.
You go.
I will.
You go
I
tonight.
should.
You should do that, and you should publish things in the Lancet and say, Lancet, all of your epidemiological studies are fucking wrong because I know this story that I falsely remember from 40 years ago.
No, I'm not falsely remembering.
Give me a fucking break, dude.
I'm not falsely remembering it.
Yeah, you are. I mean,
people my age were dying.
I know that.
Yeah.
But just because you have a couple anecdotal stories or something,
it
doesn't
all
reverse.
of them.
It
My
doesn't
friends were
reverse
my age.
Decades of research on this thing.
I think there's something incorrect there.
Okay.
Right.
Again, you could go and publish in Cell magazine if you think it's all wrong.
All right. Well, we'll look it up, and then
call Dr. Fauci and say he's incorrect.
He was the guy.
I know he was the guy.
Yeah, but I will look this up, and we'll discuss it next week. Next Friday, this will be part of the topic after Chapter 2 of the plague.
Like just because there's a couple outliers.
I think the outliers are in the other way. I know we're having the same discussion again, but I think the outliers are the 10 years and not the 6 months.
That's not where the bell curve was.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
We're out of time, but it's not.
All right. Next week, Chapter 2 of the plague. And Chapter 2 of...
It's not... It'd be
Section 2, yeah.
2.
And Section 2 of Wikipedia's take on how long it takes to get sick from AIDS.
No, it's not how long it takes to get sick from AIDS. It's
how long it takes to kill you.
Yes. All right, let's see what we're doing here. Now, I should go up and... Let's see. Oh, the second section is 100 pages.
Oh, and we need 2 weeks.
Oh, do you want to break it up into 2 weeks?
No.
Okay.
I'm worried it's not going to get better.